Hello everyone, I believe we are live. This is Hamza Ayaz. Welcome to Modest3D's Explorers review here at the ILRN conference. We're going to go over the main features and functionality of Modest3D Explorer and how it relates to education. Primary goal for us here today is to demonstrate how you can use Modest3D Explorer to build extended reality presentations. So that's included virtual reality, augmented reality, PC and mobile learning experiences. So the first thing that I'd like to show you here today is the process of actually getting Xplorer and what Xplorer actually is. So just going by our website here, Xplorer.studio. And by the way, if you're interested today at any point of actually joining us here together in the virtual experience, we'd like to invite you to do that, and I'll show you the process of how you actually can download Xplorer and get started yourself. It's a very simple process, similar to most apps. You can actually do this, use on your PC or your mobile device. So to get it started here, we'll go to Xplorer.studio. And just an overview of what Xplorer actually is. So Xplorer is, as I mentioned, an extended reality presentation creation tool. It allows you to build presentations in a very, very simple format, similar to how you'll build a presentation in like a traditional presentation creation software, except this is now for deployment using virtual reality, augmented reality, 3D and PC, all from one platform. I'll be going into how Xplorer actually works to build presentations here later on, but just to give you an overview of how it works, as you can kind of see from the graphic here, very simple and easy to use format to actually create virtual presentations here. To actually get started in Xplorer, what you'll need to do to get started is to register and download, of course. So you'll click this registration button on the top right here on Xplorer.studio, excuse me, and you will create your account if you don't have one already. So you'll get started here. You're entering your email, your name, your username, your password. You're confirmed you're not a heartless robot. And what you'll do is you'll get a verification code into your email. After you get that code in, you just have to enter that email through, and I will show you the screen that you'll see after that, so you can actually download. You'll see a screen like this, and what you want to do for our purposes here today is download the Modest3D Explorer button right over here. So just click this button over here, and you'll get a download, open up the download, and install the software, and you should be good to go. Now, later on, I can show you a little bit of the portal software here as well, but for our purposes now here, Xplorer is going to be sufficient. If you have only like a smartphone, mobile device, and you'd like to access Xplorer as well, you can do that really easily. You can open up the App Store or the Play Store and just search up Modest3D Explorer, and you can get that onto your smartphone or your tablet. So after you download and install Xplorer, I'll get into a bit of the what you'll actually see on when you actually launch a project. So we have here at Modest3D, we've had some projects here open up to for public use. I'll actually show you here. I'll jump back a second here. I'll show you what Xplorer will look like when you first launch it. So when you first download and install Xplorer, it's a pretty simple user interface, and it's very similar from whether you're on PC or mobile device. So when you go on the home page, you'll see a list of your projects here. So your projects, you consider those your virtual environments. So for example, if you're using a virtual environment for education purposes, for training purposes, you would have your virtual environment considered a project. Now you'd click on a project, and within the project you have many lessons. So for example, let's say one lesson was to be used as sort of like an overview lesson, a basic explanation lesson, and then you had other lessons that was like a quiz format, or you had essentially what you can do is you can take one virtual environment and build many types of lessons, kind of branching from those. So for purposes of here, I'll launch Tech Quiz. Now when you get started up here, you'll see an option for either single player or a multiplayer session. So I'll click multiplayer here, and I'll have a list of people that are part of my group, my training workspace, my school, that I can choose to actually join through in multiplayer. Now Xplorer, the way that virtual environments are built in Xplorer is they are built in either to be instructor led, so that like as an instructor I can bring in a class in and I can lead a presentation, or they can be made to be sort of individually led, so they can be self-contained. For the purpose of this experience here, I'm just going to actually do this as a single player lesson, but I just want to show you the multiplayer functionality as well, so I'll keep this open. Now, you have the ability to launch your experience in virtual reality if you like. Now, what Xplorer does through a supporting technology we have here called Pipeline is that it detects what kind of device you are using. So if you have, there's a wide range of headsets out there, we can accommodate for a wide range of them as well through our Pipeline technology. So it detects what headset you're using and set some configurations to allow the actual project to launch for that. So if I start to actually launch my lesson here, give it a sec to load up. And we'll start here in the start of our virtual environment. So just to kind of give you an explanation, I'll fly over this scenario here real quick. So this is a virtual environment Modest3D has built as sort of a demonstration area for Xplorer. As you can see, it's a very futuristic looking environment, but you have a lot of freedom to be able to bring in whatever virtual environment 3D virtual environment that you like. It doesn't have to be something like this. It can be, something as simple as a classroom, a hangar, an office, any virtual environment that you basically want. It's very open-ended. And that's kind of one of the reasons we chose such an advanced looking environment, to show you, you have a lot of capabilities to be able to show this. So this is sort of a guided virtual adventure, which is sort of the theme of our event here at ILRN. So just to get started here, we will actually go and go through a little bit about the user interface of Xplorer. So on the left side of the screen, what you're going to see here, these are different states of the presentation. You can consider them like slides in a presentation. And as I go through this presentation, I'm going to be clicking through these different slides. As you can see, this experience is going to be sort of in a question or answer format. To actually show you what this is all about. You can also flip through the slides through here. On the right side of the screen, I have a whole bunch of tools that I can use it as an instructor. So as I mentioned before, this is can be an instructor-led environment, so I can grab different things and put beacons, and if I have a classroom of people, of students that are all flying around the environment, I can actually teleport them, use this teleport button, use a laser pointer, highlight, X-ray, etc., which I'll be showing through the presentation here today. We have some other functionality here, which I'll also get into. But to get us kicked off here, I'll just go from the very first slide. And we're learning about movement. So this is movement in a virtual environment, and there's some particularities about it. Essentially, how you move in Xplorer is you hold down your right mouse button, and you take a look around here. And we have an instruction here. Can you spot another pink circle anywhere? There's one there. And actually fly, we're going to be using the WASD buttons. So we can use the WASD buttons. Which is like, if you actually look at your keyboard and look at WASD, it sort of looks like your arrow buttons, but in a different format. That's the gaming standard to use WASD. Now, if we go through here further, we will start to continue other parts of our presentation. And what we're going to do is, as part of this experience, we're going to have questions and answer come up. So we're going to have a question here, an Explorer, and an answer also able to be raised. Now, that's one thing that Explorer, as I mentioned before, Explorer is built for presentations. It's built for instruction, and it's built to give virtual, training environments. So essentially, what we have here is the ability to raise up different hit points and labels, and you can use that to do a question and answer format of your presentation. So as we get forward, we're going to teleport to the Tesla area. So I'm going to move here to the Tesla area. Now, that's exactly what our presentation is all about. Here we're going to be going over different aspects of the Tesla car and learning a little bit about the car and why it's different. So to get started, we're going to see what we know about the Tesla, and we're going to have our first question come up here. We're going to click our question. Now, one of the things in Xplorer is that if you click, you can set one of these labels so if you click it, it raises up a question. So you can have any text you want there. It can be, the text here is, what is the main difference between a regular car and a Tesla? And I think I know the answer to that, and that's, well, it's electric. Now it's a power source. So traditional gas-powered car uses an internal combustion engine, and electric car uses a rechargeable battery. So you can raise a bunch of different questions and answers as you like, depending on what your presentation is all about. And next question here is, what's the power source for the ICE vehicle? Now, here's the thing. Now, the key really important part about Xplorer is that the way that it works is built around a 3D model. It is built around essentially a 3D model of Xplorer excels around using a complex object. So like a 3D model of a car or an engine, or even of the human body, for example. Xplorer gives a lot of different capabilities for a presentation creator to be able to really get in depth and really teach a lot on these complex objects. Typically a picture and a video for a complex object does not always cut it. It doesn't really give the level of instruction and the level of detail that you'd really need to learn from on a complex object, especially. Like if we look at a traditional education environment, and this is not a criticism on the traditional education environment. This is just one of the kind of a gap here, is that when you have a complex 3D object, traditionally you learn in a classroom, and you learn in a classroom for 8 weeks or a year or whatever it may be, and you then get basically graduated right into the real physical environment. Well, there's a big gap there. There's a big gap between learning in the classroom and actually doing the real physical work on a complex device. So Xplorer is there as kind of a middle ground between learning the classroom and getting into the real systems and equipment. And it's sort of an environment that's going to give the student an ability to learn in a 3D way versus a traditional 2D way. So as we go through forward here, now we have another question come up. That the question is where is the Model X's battery located? The trunk, sides of the car, bottom of the inside, the wheels, etc. Now, if we actually go through this here, now we can look through from our main, scene here. We have different options that can be triggered. So if you have a class of students here all together, you can actually ask them this question, give a whole bunch of different responses, and then your next slide actually shows the answer, which is the battery pack is right here. As you can see, that just allowed that to be highlighted, and so it's showing where exactly the battery pack is located. So if you go back a couple of slides, we're gonna reverse the state of the model back to where it was previously. We have the question, where is the Model X's battery located? And then we can actually flip through the answer, do the big reveal, and there it is. Going forward here in Xplorer, we have other capability that can be done. Why does the placement of the car battery matter? So what this is essentially going to be showing is capabilities of Xplorer to actually launch a video. So aside from using a 3D model, you have different assets that can be raised. You can use video, you can use pictures, different schematics, audio can be played, etc. So just to demonstrate the video coming up here, so we have a video playing. There's audio, might be a little bit light on your side, but it is there as well. And you obviously can show a long video here. So as we continue forward into our next state, as I mentioned before, you can raise images as well. So here's an example of an image that was raised up here. And so what happens is that if you have a class of students and you're the instructor and you raise one of these images, it's going to be displayed to all the participants all together all at once. So they're going to see this bright and shiny in their face, and they're going to be able to see exactly what you are talking about and discussing. So now going forward and talking about some of the other features that I was discussing before. So for example, you have a list of tools here that you can use. You can interact with things, you can grab, laser point, etc. So just to show you grab is probably my favorite feature in Xplorer. And so what I can do is I can actually start pulling apart different aspects of the car for different purposes of instruction. So for example, let's say I want to grab this part, which I believe is one of the electric motors here, and start doing instruction on that. If my class is located around here, I'll just use this, this avatar here behind me as an example. I can, let's say this avatar here is one of my students. I can sort of bring this right to them, and that'll assist me in my instruction. So I can talk about, okay, this is the electric motor, this is how it works. If I want to show some more detail, I can actually X-ray it inside. There's no internal components on this one here, but if you had internal components, they could be shown in depth. So speaking of which, I'll just run over here to my turbocharger to actually show an example of that as well. So here we have a turbocharger and a traditional turbocharger here, and just want to get to the right angle, and so I can start actually X-raying different components and showing, okay, if you are going to disassemble this exterior housing, you can expect to see this kind of turbocharger fan, and you can sort of do discussion and instruction in that way. So as I go forward here into my states, you'll notice that one of the features that you have in Xplorer to be able to, so one of the things is that if you have a complex object, one of the interesting things about these objects is how they all come together. So it's one thing to show one complete a product, but if you want to show actually, how this all works when you actually expand them, that is that's something that's also pretty cool to show, how these objects actually come all together. In Xplorer, you can go to different modes and you can set the constraints for the actual axes these will, open up on. So if you want to just do this right into the X, you can sort of do it like that, and you can just constrain it right to the X. If you want to do it right to the X into the Y, or let's say X into the Z is what I think would be pretty cool to show here. So if you do the X into the Z, we can actually show this Tesla completely, disassembled here in a really rapid way and show, okay, this is how all these components come together in the space through our expansion function in Xplorer. So essentially what I'm showing here is all these features and functionality in Xplorer are built to give instructors tools to show detailed information on complex objects, information that is hard to teach on typically with just 2D paper or videos or pictures. We wanted to bring it all together into one environment that brings in the benefits of 3D and all those other mediums all together, to give instructors and educators as many tools as possible to be able to provide education on these complex systems and objects. Here at Modest3, we are very experienced and familiar with developing complex training for a wide variety of purposes, for within defense, within OEMs. We're very experienced with the requirements and what is actually beneficial in virtual training environments. So we have tried to bring those lessons in to these environments, these virtual training environments, and trying to actually give a high level instruction and a high level of control to instructors to be able to actually build training on these systems and equipment. So as I go forward here, I'll just take a quick pause and to see if there's any questions or any comments at this time. Okay, I think we are pretty clear on those. So as I mentioned before, if at any point you have any questions, any comments, we have the YouTube stream chat. Please do give us some feedback or any questions as you like on that. So I'll pause here for a second, and I'll actually jump into showing how you can create these presentations in our Xplorer Creator. Okay, everybody. So we are now in the Xplorer Creator. So essentially, what this the Xplorer Creator is meant for is to create the actual virtual experiences. So as I mentioned before at the start of this presentation here, we can use Xplorer Creator to create virtual reality, augmented reality, PC, and mobile experiences, all from just this one area. So instead of using 4 different types of software or anything like that, you just have one place you actually create it. So first thing I'd like to sort of draw your attention to here is the general user interface of Xplorer Creator. We have built it to be familiar to people when they're building other types of presentations. So if you're used to building regular presentations, Xplorer should not be too unfamiliar in terms of how the user interface actually looks. As I was discussing previously, Xplorer is all about building presentation on 3D objects here. So our main object of discussion here today is going to be the Tesla again. So I'm going to show you how to create some slides, very basic slides, and how some of the major features and functionality in Xplorer Create actually works. So if I go here from my starting slide, I can actually see here that I have a long list of slides all together. So I've got all my expansion slides. I've got my lesson slides. I've got a whole bunch of slides here that I can actually build this training on, as we were showing before. A couple things I'd like to draw your attention to. If ever you see one of these yellow halos, these are actually built for your virtual reality hit spots. So building for virtual reality has some particularities to it in that you may want to create these sort of teleport spots to allow your users to jump into move it using a virtual reality controller right into the teleport spots, and that launches the state. So that's kind of what you're seeing here today. So if I go for my starting state, I will duplicate my slide. I will call this ILRN. Let me do something a little bit more particular. So let me say pulling the wheels off. Wheels off. Just to be more descriptive, and I can add some information about the state that says that pulling off the 4 wheels on the Tesla. So what I'm doing right now is I'm creating my state, but I'm also giving it a state description. And so when I raise this state in the actual Explorer, what will happen is that I will actually see this the state name and the description itself. So what I'm trying to do here today is I'm going to actually be moving off my my wheels here. So I'll go here to my mode, I'll go to my free mode, and I'll start to actually click on the object that I want to remove. And as you can see here, I have these 4 arrows. So these arrows are for the different direction that I actually want to move this wheel in. So let's say I want to actually click it and move it out. And it's that simple to actually move these objects in Explorer. You just have to click the object that you want to move and simply move it. So I'll actually move this wheel way out, and I will click here and I'll pull this out too. This may be something cool I want to show, and I may also want to show this here. So what I can do here is I can pull this out here and then raise this element a bit higher, something like that. And then I can actually raise this up a little bit more high too. So I can go forward and do that for the rest of the wheels. Simply click the arrow, drag it forward. You have some other things of rotation you can show too. So if I have 2 different ways I can show a rotation object, one here and one here. So if I want to, I can actually rotate the object like this as well if I so please. So I will click here to move this out as well, and then I'll move this upwards. So I mean, what's the purpose of this? Why would you want to be doing this? Now, for example, if you see this Tesla that we have here, if you're an instructor and you want to give information on how this Tesla actually works and what's different about the wheels and what are the parts of the wheels, and let's say electric vehicles are going to be kind of a mainstay in our automotive industry, and for a lot of people who may be used to working on traditional internal combustion engine cars, these may be a total mystery to them. And so you might want to create, if you have a college, for example, or an automotive program, if you are, for example, let's say from the OEMs or anything like that, you want to show information on these vehicles and give instruction on them, you can do so. Now, for the purposes of our discussion here today, I'm just going to actually shorten, instead of pulling off all 4, I'll just pull off all 2 wheels. One thing that you can do here is if I want to click this wheel and I want to actually add a label to that, I can do so just by here. And so we're seeing here the name of the object, and we can actually also alter the text of the object. So I can say that this is actually the front right wheel. And just that simple, I can add more information in as I like. If I want to add an image or a background image or a video, an audio, I can just drag it here. If I want to change any of the text colors, it's really simple to do that. Just simply click here and I'll make this a blue. That might be a little hard to see, so I'll actually make that a yellow. So you can easily change that there. So this properties folder here has essentially all the main features and functionality that you need to alter the scene. So in the actual Explorer Creator, one of the ways that we've designed is to make it a very rapid transition between actually building and seeing what you built. In the 3D world, traditionally, that's been a very big gap area in that you can build your experiences, but it will take you a while to actually get to the point where you can actually see your work done. We've made that really rapid, so you can, if you're looking to make a change in your state, you can do that very, very, very quickly. So what you see here, this is my starting state of the Tesla again. I'll go back down. You can see my new slide here, pulling the wheels off, has just come out now. So I'll click this now. I didn't actually set my view to the right location. That's why I kind of jumped out. And I'll fix that in just a moment here. But if I jump through here, I can actually see my lesson all here together that I just created in the creator, and now it's in the player side as well. So I'll see here my wheels come off, my different parts of the wheel have also been removed, and my my car wheel there has also sort of opened up. And if I want to show the transition to that state, I can, of course my view is not set, that's why it's showing that, but it's simply clicking between those different areas will show me the transition between the two states there. So if I stop here, there's lots of other features and functionality here in Xplorer Creator. For example, if you want to actually set your information for augmented reality, you can do that just by clicking here. And what you can do is you can choose what you actually want as your augmented reality route. So if you want to do the augmented reality training based on the car, you can drag it into your augmented reality route area. Now you can see right over here I have my AR route, so I can drag my model that I would like to actually set as my augmented reality route right through here. Now what will happen when you do that is that it will actually, if you have Xplorer on your mobile device like your smartphone, you can use the AR feature in Xplorer and you can display the 3D model of whatever you're building training on right into your physical space, through your actual device. So looking through the screen of your device, you'll see it onto the actual physical location. Now, why may you want to do that? Now, for example, one of the ways that Xplorer is being used for its augmented reality feature is that let's say there's technicians about to go on site somewhere, and before they're, let's say they're on the location, and they want to actually provide some practice to themselves before they do this replacement. So they're going to replace, let's say, component into an electrical breaker, and before they actually do the replacement, they want to get some, they want to sort of warm up for the task. What they'll do is they'll take the Xplorer, on their smartphone, they'll display the model in augmented reality in front of them, and they'll go through a training lesson similar to the training lessons we've been seeing here. So they're there on site, all they need is their smartphone, and they're able to actually display their model right in front of them to do the training. Other features in Xplorer, which are the creation side, which are key from a distribution point of view, I'm going to show you in our Xplorer Creator software. So I'm going to switch to that, to our Xplorer Portal software. So I'll switch to that very quickly here. Okay, I am here now in our Portal software. So what Portal is built for, Portal is built to be able to distribute your Xplorer lessons. So if you've built Xplorer lessons that are going to be used for your classroom or for your university environment, your college environment, you may have, depending on, if you're doing it, let's say you're using Xplorer across your field of study, the program, there may be a large list of courses that you have, and each class may have a different set of courses, and you want to actually do distribution of them. So I'm going to show very quickly how distribution of projects actually works in Portal here. So we will load first the concept of workspaces. Now what workspaces are is that, going back to the idea of actually using Xplorer in a classroom setting, let's say you have classes that are for a range of different programs, and you want to actually start to distribute your courses to the different programs that are part of that. You can create those as workspaces, and you can distribute your project. You can control distribution of those projects through your actual workspaces. And similarly, you can actually set user groups. So we have a list of users here, and from a list of users, we can actually create groups of those users. So if I want to create a group, I can call it something, let me call it automotive, let's say electric vehicle repair group. So from this area, I can actually start to assign people to this group. I can choose people from different, teams, and I can actually get them all together here, and I can add them to my group just by clicking like this. So what I've done here, I've just created a user group for my electrical vehicle training. And now if I go into my projects are all my different Xplorer projects. These are all the projects that I have built for different types of training purposes on different systems, different equipment, things like this. And what I can do is I can share and distribute them to my, my team here. So let's say I created my electric vehicle group. I can click that here, and actually I can actually distribute and share my project right to all the people in this group here. So I go my Xplorer, Tech Demo TS, and I can actually share now my project very quickly and easily through that. Portal is actually also used to access your projects for creation and editing purposes. So what I've done here is I've opened up my tech demo project, and I'll see my lessons here. So I've got 2 lessons here. As I create more lessons, which I can do just by clicking here, I can actually start to build out my lessons and save them here. You'll notice on the bottom here we have an Assets tab. The Assets tab is used to add different, if you have different models that are part of your lesson, if you have different types of audio files that are part of your lesson, if you have different images, they can all be added here in the Assets tab. Now from the Assets tab, you can load a wide range of different data formats all together here. What we have here, you'll see, notice a software called Pipeline. Pipeline is used to make the process of actually adding these assets into your model and selecting the specific parts in those assets which are used in your lesson in a really efficient way. Now jumping forward into our actual, our Explorer lesson side, so I'll jump into my. So essentially what will happen is once you actually do this, you'll jump back into your Explorer Creator side here, and you'll be able to start and actually perform your training, which you should just be seeing now. So this is what you'll see when you actually open up your project lesson. You'll see your Explorer project, which you can actually start building and creating on, and then you can jump back into the portal to actually distribute those out towards your team. And after those are all distributed, you can jump back into your Explorer player, and you can actually start your lesson itself. I'm going to pause here for a second in case anybody has any questions or anything they'd like to see, and I'll just hold here for a minute for that. So I'd just like to show the process of inviting people into a multiplayer session. So I'll invite my colleague here, Peter. It'll take him a couple of minutes to join up just as he's downloading the lesson itself, but I'll just jump in here really quickly and show you how that works. Also try to actually launch this in virtual reality so you can see how that looks as well. So I will be doing that in just a moment here. We're just loading in now, so just be a few moments. Okay, everyone. So you'll see here, I'm actually, this is another slide of the Explorer player, is the actual join room section. So these are all the rooms that I, as a host, have hosted here. And I can actually see all the rooms I have open and join into them as I need. And as I mentioned before, if anybody would like to actually join us here in the virtual experience, we'd love to have you here as part of this. So if you would like to actually join us here together, very simple process to actually do so. You just need to go to the Xplorer.studio website, register through the button on the top right, and download the Explorer player, and we'd be happy to get you all started in. So once again, here on the player side, and I can actually start to see who's in my lobby here all together. I can actually invite my different colleagues here together. I have the ability to actually talk within Explorer itself by pressing this button, this mic button here, and actually set a voice message out through to everybody. I can mute different people. I can kick them if I require to actually remove them from the room. I can do so here. And I have a lot of features functionality as such to do that. And so I believe Peter has actually joined us here. And as you can see, he is right in front of me in the virtual environment. He's the droid here. So you can set your avatar to show different different types of avatars as you like. We use a drone as a default, kind of a neutral format for people to join in, but Peter's a part of this lesson, so I'm going to actually show you some of the multiplayer features and how they actually work. The first feature that I'll show you is teleport. So essentially teleport, the way it works is you'll click a point that you want to teleport your users onto, and they'll be moved right to the area where you teleport them to. Now, for example, if I would like to, Peter has freedom of movement as well. So if Peter holds in the right mouse button and moves around, he has freedom to move. But as an instructor, if I would like to actually bring my, my team to a specific place, I can do that just by clicking here. And so Peter will move where the flag is pointing. So wherever the flag is pointing, he's going to move right behind the line. So Peter's going to move right to the actual car here. So if I go through my state here, so I can actually walk Peter through now through this lesson here. So for example, let's say I have features where I can actually click to open the trunk. So I've clicked my trunk and it's now opening a bit rapidly, but it's opening, and I want to show Peter, okay, here's where the trunk is. And let's say I want to go to another slide, and let's say Peter is a student in the class or something like that, and I'd like to actually show them different parts of the vehicle. I can actually start walking him through now the experience. So I can say, okay, here are the electric vehicles. And let's say, for example, Peter's got a question. I can actually bring the motor out to him and show him that directly. And he can see that as he likes. Can look into it, fly into it as he likes, and I can start discussing, okay, this is where the front electric motor is, and give him some instruction on that level. And so I can also laser point to something specifically. So if I want to show as I'm talking, okay, here's where the batteries are, here's where the front right wheel is, the front left wheel is, I can click laser and I can actually laser those through. I can also invite another one of my colleagues here, so I'll send an invitation off to Laura. So I can do that on the fly through my lesson. If I want to actually invite another person to actually join me here, I can just open up this multiplayer tab and invite them here through this button. I can highlight different components as well. I can choose the color of I can actually choose the different areas that I want to highlight in. So if I want to highlight the battery again, or let's say I want to highlight the rear component here, I can do that. I can x-ray things as well. So if I want to x-ray, I'll bring the car back to a previous state to actually show benefits of x-ray here. So if I want to x-ray, I can choose the color of my x-ray. Like let's say I want to x-ray green. I can x-ray the doors here and maybe the body of the car, and allow for a little bit more focus on those areas. Basically, you highlight. What it does is it allows the object to be fully see-through, and allows the user to actually go in and look at different parts and components. If I want to clear the effects, I can just click clear effects, and that'll clear the effects in the state itself. So I'll run to my a few of my other states here. Now, if I would like Peter to go to another area, I can use simply teleport here. So I'll use teleport. I'll bring it over to the turbocharger. So as an instructor, I'll move around here to the turbo, and just like that, Peter is now at the turbocharger area. Now looking into this a bit, turbochargers is one of the objects that we can build a training lesson on. And as you can see here, I've got my expansion lesson here built, so I can actually show this turbo and expansion as I go through. And if I'd like Peter to, just really look at this as I'm doing the expansion, I can move him right there, and we can actually go through the expansion fully together. Again, you can grab different components, pull them apart, and start your instruction just like this. Another one of the features that we can show here is the ability to, if you have as I mentioned before, you have a complex object, we can actually go to the specific 3D model hierarchy of that object and pull around different components down to the bolt. So let's say this is my turbocharger 3D model, and I have all these parts associated with the 3D model of the turbocharger. If I want to go down to a specific bolt, I can click that bolt, and it'll bring me right to where those bolts are in the model itself. If I want to use something a little bit more functional or important, I can pull those bolts out, and I can show Peter, these bolts are going to have to be removed before you actually do the disassembly, and I can point those out to them specifically where those are. I can go to another part here as well. The center housing, for example, I can get the center housing, I can pull that out, and I've actually grabbed the exterior housing, but I can pull that center housing out and show that to Peter as well. So essentially, anything on this object that I need to show, in more detail, give more information, add a picture or video or anything like that, I can very, very easily and quickly do just through clicking these different features and functionality here within Xplorer. And if we don't have any more questions, I can pause here for just a moment if anybody does, and if not, I think we can close it off here a little bit early today. Okay, everybody, that was a overview of Modest3D Explorer virtual presentation creation software used to build extended reality presentations, including virtual reality, augmented reality, PC, and mobile. I want to thank you all very much for being a part of this here today. If you have any questions or anything you'd like to try, if you'd ever like to try this experience, we've left this Xplorer demo area open for people to try. So if you'd like to download and get started, feel free to contact us. We can help walk you through the process and get you all set up with an account to get started on actually experiencing the future of virtual training, which is we believe is extended reality training. So thank you all so much for being a part of this here today, and enjoy the rest of this great event. Thank you so much to ILRN as well for hosting this and inviting